thank you for joining me. It's day 19 of Dream It, Do It. Today I want to talk to you about how journaling has really transformed my life over the years. For as far back as I can remember, even as a little girl, I've enjoyed having a diary, writing in it what happened in a day, what I'm excited for, what I was feeling about. And as I approached adulthood, I think that idea of writing in a diary evolved into more of a journaling approach. It wasn't so much necessarily about capturing all the ins and outs of what I'd done in a day, but more about what I wanted to do with my day and how I wanted to plan it. And then looking ahead to, okay, well, how do I want my life to be? Visualizing, goal setting, and so forth. I think having a journal can be very therapeutic, very calming. When you're writing in your journal or your planner, it's that special private time where you can collect your thoughts and get things down on paper. Even if those things change and evolve over time, it doesn't matter. The act of getting things out of your head and onto paper can just be very releasing and very calming. So why do I recommend journaling? First of all, I think it's a great way of getting yourself organised. If you have lots of things whirring around in your head, things that you need to do, things that you don't want to forget, you can use a journal to write them down so that you don't forget. And once they're down on paper, you can relax, safe in the knowledge that you can come back to them and you've got them there in black and white. Next up, journaling is also a great prioritisation tool. If you can get a list of things down into your journal that you want to do, a brain dump, so to speak, you can then have a look at your list and prioritise. Okay, what are the things that are most important to me? What are the things that are urgent that I need to do today? What are the things that are really important but not so urgent, but if I never find the time to work on those important things, they're never going to get done and I'll never get the benefits from them. Like I say, it's just a fab prioritisation tool to see everything laid out in front of you, and there are various methods that you can use to prioritise the things that you need or want to get done. And thirdly, using a journal can be very calming. Calming in two senses. One, in the moment that you're sat there writing in your journal, it's a quiet time, a special time for you. But secondly, because it does clear your mind, and having things written down can give you peace of mind that then you're not going to have to try and recall them at a later date because they're there in your journal for you to refer back to. So I think journaling is fab, and I would really recommend that you make it a daily habit. If you watched my morning routine video from earlier this week, you'll know that one of the lifesavers was scribing, or in other words, journaling. If you go and research the habits of some of the most successful people in the world, you will see that the majority of them will use some form of journaling. So what different types of journaling and indeed journals are there? And the answer is there are many. Here are three of the most common types of journals that you may come across and may want to choose from. The first is a diary format or a calendar style. With a page-a-day calendar, you can plan on a daily basis, write key events and things to do. So in the simplest sense, a dated diary is one type of journal that you could opt to use. Secondly, you could get a planner or a journal that has been designed specifically to guide you for a purpose. For example, a few years ago, I had a planner that was called the Passion Planner. I think it started as a Kickstarter project, and I ended up using the Passion Planner about 2 or 3 years in a row. It's a really great journal to use. I just evolved away from it eventually, but I still love it and I would still recommend it. So the idea with the Passion Planner was that you did a mind map of things that you wanted for the long term, this year and in the next 3 months. You wrote them all down and then you focused in on some of them and worked out how you could work towards those passions of yours to bring them to fruition. This was very much a guided planner, so it had sections at the front to guide you through exercises, and then it went more into a daily and weekly format so that you could transpose what you'd done in your workings up front into the weeks and days to work through them throughout your year. That's just one example of a guided or formatted type of planner. There are many different types by many different people, and you can also find lots of examples on shopping sites such as Amazon. The third type that I'm talking about today is bullet journals. This is actually what I moved towards as I evolved away from the Passion Planner. A bullet journal is essentially a blank canvas. You can use pretty much any notebook to do bullet journaling in. And this is why I love it, because it's completely customizable to your needs. The bullet journaling approach uses a really simple method that is really easy to learn and follow. And once you've learnt it, you can adapt it to your needs to make it work for you. I just had a quick look on Amazon, and there are now lots of different books that explain how to get into bullet journaling for beginners. So I'll pop a few of my favourites into the description below so that you can go and check those out if you're interested in learning how to bullet journal. But in its simplest sense, it's an organisation tool and a method for getting the thoughts in your head and the ideas and the things that you need to do down onto paper so that you can follow it simply and with minimal fuss. It also cuts out all of the extras that you tend to get in pre-printed journals that you never use or end up wasting your time. You literally just use your bullet journal for the things that will benefit you the most. So I went and dug out some of my previous and current bullet journals. I get a particular brand which I probably won't be able to pronounce properly, but it's called Leuchtturm. In fact, the actual name of the book is Leuchtturm 1917. It's an A5 size. It's a lovely kind of hardcover format. They come in many different colours, and one of the key features of a bullet journal is that generally they will have a dotted page. I'm trying to find a blank page to show you that. Here we go. Here in my current journal, I'll be able to show you that. The pages are just blank with very faint dots on there in a grid format. With this being bullet journaling, think bullet points. The grid format is just slightly easier to use than, say, a blank page or a lined format. So you can see my previous journals are well used, completely full with all of my writing in there. It's all handwritten, there's no printed stuff in there. Although if you do find that there are things that would help you to have perhaps weekly or monthly, you can create something that you then print out and stick into your bullet journal. For example, here you can see I've stuck something in, and I've bought some pretty washi tape to stick things in, or you can even use the washi tape, I haven't got an example here, but on the edge of a page so that you can make a specific page stand out. So I had a pink one, this was July 19 to February 2020. I had this one that I stuck a Minnie Mouse on the front. That was January 2020 to March 2021. And my current bullet journal is this one that I covered with Minnie Mouse paper rather. Get it right, Corinna. And over the time that I've been using the bullet journal, so for several years now, the things that I use it for has evolved, and that's the beauty of it. As you feel compelled to make a change and your intuition tells you, I really need to plan my days out slightly differently or try this different spread or layout, you can experiment with it and play with it, and it just really becomes your own. Honestly, your bullet journal will become your best friend, and you'll feel like you want to take it everywhere with you. It can also be a fantastic creative outlet and something that you will cherish for years to come. So you've decided to have a go at bullet journaling, but what do you put in it? There are lots of different types of layouts that you may want to try. Now, in bullet journal lingo, we tend to call a layout a spread. A spread is where you take your bullet journal and open it out, and you've got these two pages, and you'd use it for whatever it is that you're planning on those 2 pages, and that is called a spread. Or you could just have a 1-page spread as well, that's fine. So there's lots of different types of spreads, and you can come up with your own as well. It's completely flexible and open to you. But typical spreads that people use are a yearly layout or a 6-monthly layout, so a look ahead at what you've got planned for the next year or 6 months, maybe writing in a calendar in there so you can see the dates. A monthly spread, a weekly spread, a daily spread. So for me, a daily spread isn't necessarily a whole page. I just use as much space as I need for that particular day. I'll write the day, the date, things that I'm tracking in terms of habits that I want to see how I'm doing. So I tend to track how many waters I've drunk in a day, what my weight is, whether I've worked out that day. And I also put down a list of things that I want to do that day. I'll prioritise those things. I'll also pop in what the current goals are that I'm working on, thinking back to our 12-week year. So if you think back to some of the videos that I've done earlier in this series where I've told you to take your notebook and write things down, really I've been explaining to you how to use your notebook as a bullet journal. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just using it to plan in a way that works for you and is nice and simple. Other types of spreads include lists. So for example, you could do an autumn bucket list, a winter bucket list, a bucket list of things I want to do before I'm 40, that kind of thing. You can also create your own habit tracker spreads. Say for example, in a given week or a month, there are certain things that you want to do every day. You can create a page where you write down what those things are with the days across the top, and then you just tick those off every time you do them. So habit trackers. Also spreads that are personal to me that I've created. I have a 2-page spread with all of the birthdays throughout the year that I want to send birthday cards and gifts to people for, so that I don't miss an important date. I also have a spread where whenever I hear of a book that I think, oh, I really want to read that book, I'll go and write that in there. And I've drawn it out really cute so it looks like shelves with books on it, and all the books have got empty spines, and as I think of a book I go and write it in the spine. Then when I've read the book, I colour it in to show that I did that book. So that's kind of a fun spread to have. And also I have goal spreads. At the moment I've got a 12-week year goal spread, but you could do it monthly, you could do it weekly, yearly, however you like to track your goals. And I've done most of those in the past at some time. And you can get as creative as you choose with your bullet journal. Not only can you come up with different spreads that suit your needs, you can also embellish and flourish your spreads. If you go to sites like Etsy, you can find people who have created specific stickers to use for bullet journal, maybe something that a weekly checklist that you want to stick in for every week so you don't have to draw it out every week. So that's a fun way to embellish your bullet journal. You can also do some nice drawing. Say you're starting a new month, you might want to just dedicate a page to say January and just draw maybe icicles and a snow scene around January. For February you might want to draw hearts around it or a nice Valentine's theme. December could be a Christmas theme. So if you want to, you can also use your bullet journal as a creative outlet, and in a quiet moment when the mood takes you, do a bit of art in your bullet journal. So if you've been following along with my Dream It, Do It series, there are many things that you could use your bullet journal for. You could create a spread to write out your 12-week year goals and actions, something that you'll be able to easily refer back to. You can use it for your weekly planning and reviews, and you can use it daily to write out the goals that you're focusing on, the actions that you plan to do that day, and to track what you've done as you go through your day. You can also write out on a daily basis things that you're grateful for or that you're excited for that are upcoming. You can also use it to write down important things that you need to do today, or if you have any events that you need to attend. You could even even draw out a time schedule for each day. So just down the side of the page, write 7 a.m, 8 a.m, and so forth, all the way through till your bedtime. And then you can time block actions and events that you're going to do throughout the day. So it's a great planning tool. The key thing with bullet journaling, or any type of journaling that you decide to do, is that you find something that works for you and that brings you joy. Commit to making journaling something that you do on a daily basis, and if you can find a method that does work for you, you'll want to use it every day and come back to it. It will not only become a tool that you turn to, but it will become something that you love and that brings you joy and that you can look back on in years to come. So I'm really intrigued. Do you already use journaling, or do you plan to have a go at it now? If you do, what type of journal do you use, or are you going to invest in? Are you going to have a go at bullet journaling? And what kind of spreads are you going to create? Do let me know in the comments down below. And if you've got a favourite spread that you'd like to share, tag me on Instagram. I'm at Inspiring Life Design, or send me a pic to my email. I'm Corinna at inspiringlifedesign.com. I would love to see your bullet journal spreads. That's pretty much all for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I will be back tomorrow for the next video in my Dream It, Do It series. And until then, keep dreaming big.